this game really within, I'd say, close to an hour moved that many points. When he saw the line move, he actually called Temple and asked, was there a COVID outbreak? And, he started looking into what was going on with Temple. There wasn't anything. There really wasn't anything to explain this.
This is Sharp Money with Patrick Meagher on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Thomas, I got a text message from you at about 3:30 a.m. my time, 6:30 your time. I knew something was up. Obviously, there was a buzz there at the book.
Yeah, and obviously yesterday there was a buzz when you sort of delved into this, and now a lot of it is obviously being reported on what happened with Temple and UAB yesterday, and I think last night media started sniffing around, especially local Philadelphia media, after the game had concluded, and they saw the result. And we're aware of the line movement that took place. So, I think we can probably just go through the line movement and what happened yesterday with this game, and why everybody's talking about it today and then last night. So, you essentially had most sports books open this game with UAB as a 2 or 2.5 point favorite, depending which book. And that was the overnight line for Wednesday night into Thursday, and it pretty much stayed at that number through the morning, especially the overnight into the morning yesterday. And we took some limit bets at 2.5. I'll say very late morning, probably around probably right after noon. Moved it a point, took some more limit bets, and at that point moved again. And right around that time, which I would say was around 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, which, again, that's not exact, but right around that time, that's really when you started seeing this game steam on an odd screen. And it got to a point where we took it down here. We took it off the board probably about 15 minutes later, right around 1:45 or so. And, when all was said and done, it gotten up to 8 in a very short period of time. So, as you guys are aware, and probably most listeners are aware, on March 7th, for an American Athletic Conference game, there is not going to be a line movement of 6 points unless there is some major injury news or, some news about players being ruled ineligible, sickness, whatever. When I started seeing this game really get steamed, I started really looking into what we could find on Temple and UAB, and there was nothing out there. There was nothing as far as injury news on Temple, nothing as far as UAB adding anybody. It was just there was nothing. So extremely odd line movement, not something you see on a spread to move 6 points. And, I've seen people write, well, the odds makers just got the line wrong. Again, you don't move a game 6 points. And, I'm sure not every book was affected by this. We did take some bets, and, we did report to U.S. Integrity. And, I'm sure I've seen reports from other places across the country that either did take bets or turned down bets when this thing was getting steamed. And now it's up for everybody to kind of do what they need to do. If they feel that they need to investigate, they'll investigate. I'm sure with the way that this story is blowing up in the media at this point, there probably will be investigation into it. It's you don't want to say anything. You hate to say that anything nefarious is happening, but when you see a movement like this and you see wagers come in that don't really make a lot of sense, that's when you have to report these.
Thomas Gable runs the Race and Sports Book in Atlantic City at the Borgata. Obviously, regionally, very close to Philadelphia. We're talking about UAB and Temple, potential market manipulation. You also mentioned in your notes they were hitting first halves and flying under the radar, and then they went full game in addition to the first half and got exposed. Can you elaborate?
Let me just, again, if you dig into this and dig into what's being talked about with Temple, and you kind of look at previous line movement for prior games, you're seeing some big moves, and whether that was on first halves in certain games or totals, and sorry, in this one where you have the full game spread move that much, people are going to stand up and take notice. You may be able to get away with getting some first half bets in, and not really moving or getting the number to move much, depending how you're doing it. But when you're trying to get down big amounts for a full game, and I can't speculate what happened elsewhere, but when you're moving a game that much, it's going to stand out, and those are the things that are going to tip off sports books, and you're going to report it and let the agencies who handle these things look into it.
And that's U.S. Integrity. Thomas Gable, progressive guest line here on Sharp Money, presented by DraftKings. Had you been suspicious of Temple? Of course, you talked about potentially some maybe nefarious line moves in the past. We can talk about Temple Memphis February 8th, where that number jumped quite a bit as well. Had you been suspicious of Temple in the past?
Well, I saw that certain people were. I personally wasn't until yesterday. But certainly some people seem to be even before yesterday. And the other thing, you have to point out here, when a number moves that much and it gets to 8 or 7.5, and there really isn't buyback, especially from respected play, that's also a sign. Sharp players are going to look at that, and if they're staying away, they know something doesn't look right to them, so they're going to stay away. And that's what happened here, because you didn't really see much buyback there on Temple at 8. So that was also a pretty telling sign here, and that, again, probably should be looked into.
Each book is going to be regionally impacted. Did you notice there close to Philly in Atlantic City at the Borgata that your number was showing different than other shops?
Well, we moved again off the limit bet. So, yeah, at one point we probably were higher. Now, yeah, we're closer to Temple, but the money was coming in on UAB. We weren't taking Temple money here. So I don't know necessarily where we sit regionally had any impact on what we were seeing. Sports books, a lot of books, you're going to follow the market. So when it's getting steamed and everybody is, ends at 7.5 or 8, doesn't necessarily mean that they took a ton of UAB money. Some books may not have taken UAB money, but they followed the market and moved. But certain books certainly did to get that number to move to what it did.
Take us, Thomas Gable, progressive guest line here, Sharp Money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Take us inside the war room there at the Borgata, kind of real time. Walk us through when you started, the interest started to peak and the conversations being had.
Well, it's really just looking for information, right? I mean, you're reacting to the wagers that come in, and then you're obviously looking for information, and this happened again in a very short amount of time. This game really within, I'd say, close to an hour, moved that many points. So you're really searching. Is there injury news that is suddenly out there that we missed, or when it first got reported, and nothing was really standing out. And I actually had talked to a Philly media member last night who, when he saw the line move, he actually called Temple and asked, was there a COVID outbreak? And, he started looking into what was going on with Temple. So just to see if there was some sort of explanation, but there wasn't anything. There really wasn't anything to explain this, other than money hitting the market.
And the tickets written, how were they handled?
We paid them out. They were valid wagers. So whoever won on that game or lost, the bets were settled accordingly, and winners were paid.
And Temple next on Sunday, UTSA. How are we handling that?
Well, I'll say probably we're going to keep limits a little bit smaller for that game, just as a precaution. But they play. Yeah, I guess they play Sunday again. That's their final regular season game. So yeah, we'll probably keep limits a little bit smaller. Listen, nobody wants to see this, and the integrity of every sport in the market is primary, right? It needs to be fair for everybody involved, and you don't want to ever see something like this happen.
You mentioned you did report the suspicious activity to U.S. Integrity, which is important because this is a regulated industry. I do wonder, moving forward, will there be a heightened focus on the board, or is it business as usual?
I think it's business as usual, Patrick. I think this is, part of everyone's job in this industry, in the regulated industry. When you see something that doesn't look normal, that's why you have a group like U.S. Integrity that exists, and they're connected to pretty much everybody. So, and I'm not saying anything that isn't already out there, or has been reported today. They issued an industry alert to operators and the regulators and everybody they deal with, flagging this possible suspicious activity, and send it out there, and that's, goes to all their clients, and that's part of the regulated industry, and it's one of those safeguards that's in place, and they'll do their job from here.
Thomas Gable on a progressive guest line here, Sharp Money. First off, I want to thank you because I know you continue to put your trust in me. I know you have to be a tad cagey. You're running a major sports book in Atlantic City at the Borgata, but you gave us very valuable information we're not going to get anywhere else. So I just want to thank you for that, TG. Look, anytime my phone blows up at 3:30, I get excited, and certainly a text from you excited me. So thank you for that, Thomas.
Yeah, I hope that you never really hear from me at 3:30 in the morning. That'd be something seriously wrong there.
This is the business we chose. So certainly some excitement at the book yesterday with UAB-Temple.